Good morning and welcome back to WKNI TV 25. We have the Honorable Mayor Robert Williamson on this morning and talking about the fine city of Florala. The spring break is coming up. We were talking about how that affects and the traffic and all that. You talked about the bypass. I mean, that almost makes you want to shudder, don't it?
Oh, definitely.
I mean, who's pushing that?
Well, I think it's over. There's no funding available. The DOT held a meeting back, I think it was in January or maybe the latter part of last year that I attended, and the funding's just not there. So the bypass, or a potential bypass, has been taken off the table. That's great news for Florala. So it's no longer being pushed.
Well, you look at the city of McKenzie, you look at the city of Red Level, you look at the city of River Falls. All of them have been done in by bypasses, and you know that I shudder to think what would happen to Florala, because Florala is kind of like one of the icons of our Covington County area. You mentioned Lake Jackson. I mean, people will not even know it exists if there's a bypass.
And I understand the mindset that growth will occur towards the bypass, and I'm not necessarily arguing that, but I think the time in which it would take to grow a bypass, it would kill Florala. I mean, we couldn't survive. I mean, we're a small community with limited revenue, so it's a struggle to go year to year, much less to try to wait 20 to 25 years to see growth on a bypass. So I feel like it would have been devastating for our community. So it's off the table, and we're delighted that it is.
Well, again, we talk about, look at the city of Opp when the bypass opened up with that, and they had a lot of issues there for a long, long time, and the growth really has not gone out to the bypass. It's still staying within the city, and that was a lot of forward thinking on the administrations and the people that were in office, and they've got a whole new administration now in council, I believe, in Opp now, and we'll see how that pans out, but anyhow, it would not be a good thing for the city of Florala.
No, it would be very hurtful financially, so we're delighted that it's not going to occur and that all that traffic's going to still be flowing right through the middle of town.
Now, at one point in time on Lake Jackson, right down the road there, I can't remember, is that 85 or, okay, right there was a motel or something that was planned. Is that still in the picture? Or?
Currently, no. I mean, that was about, that was before we came in, so maybe 6, 7, 8 years ago, possibly. So no, that is not, but obviously we are continuing to work on every possible angle. We're looking under every rock as far as, future growth in Florala, and specifically my goal, and that's one you mentioned earlier, what I felt like one of the greater successes was. One of my biggest disappointments is I really thought that we would have a hotel by now. And the economy about 2 years in, roughly a year to 2 years into our first administration, just took a downturn. If it hadn't, maybe we'd already be where I wanted to be hotel-wise, but we're not. So that has been a disappointment, but we're continuing to work on that. In the next, I would say before the end of the year, there will be some substantial announcements where Florala is concerned. There's been a tremendous amount of interest. I apply it to the fact that the bypass is no longer an issue. And I think that was my argument all along, was that I felt like just discussion of a bypass discouraged potential businesses.
Because they didn't know where to go.
Right. And I mean, why do you want to invest hundreds of thousands of dollars when it might be bypassed in 8 to 10 years? So since that has been nixed, we have had a substantial amount of inquiries where Florala is concerned. And I really do think that by the end of the year, you're going to see some fairly substantial announcements from our community.
Well, the motel was a big thing. There's also, you got plenty of restaurants. What other industry, industrial park, and obviously the airport? What are you looking at there? We're talking future now.
Airport is major, and I guess, again, I don't sit and dwell on the successes necessarily. We just try to do our job, and I think the council does the same every day. So when you mentioned greatest successes, it didn't even occur to me that the airport is one. And that's a very complex situation, and it's really time-consuming to get into, but let me just say that there was an arrangement in place that prohibited us from being able to receive FAA funds. So we couldn't do any improvements to the airport because it was too costly. We were able to work out an arrangement to where the variables that were in place that prohibited us from getting grant money were eliminated. So now we've had, as a matter of fact, this year we had $600 and something thousand worth of work done there. The airport runway has been repaved. The lighting system is being replaced. So that to me is huge. Avionics is a major area of growth nationwide. We want to be in the mix, and until we were able to rearrange this contract to allow money to flow into the airport, we had no shot at getting any aviation business. But now we've been able to remove that obstacle.
South Alabama Regional Airport has been a big deterrent in a way to Florala Airport. It's my opinion. I mean, just seeing how they're grabbing all the industry, they're grabbing all the businesses. They've got a lot of large grants to expand the runway. They've built those hangars out there. Is that something that you're looking at for the airport there? I mean, that's a lot of responsibility. The hangars out there at the airport here has been a ribbing point for a number of years out there, but they're currently leased and operating. Is that something that you're going to look into out there?
Well, we're looking into those the increase of hangars. We plan on seeing more hangars come to the airport. We now have avgas available, which we didn't have 4 months ago. We didn't have it available. We do now, so that recreational pilots can come in, refuel. The runway obviously was in poor shape. It's now in great shape since it's been resurfaced. As I mentioned, the lighting system. Let me say one thing, though. You mentioned about South Alabama's airport, the South Alabama Regional Airport, hindering us. I have never had the approach, whether city-wise, business-wise, I don't worry about what other people are doing. I feel like if we're doing our job, it will reap dividends. So I don't really look at what others are doing as a means of competing with us. I don't look at it from that perspective. I look at it more of, let's do what we should be doing to enhance our, in this particular case, city business opportunities. And if we're doing what we should be doing, we don't have to worry about what everybody else is doing.
Folks, you heard that, and just think on a national level with that main frame of thought, how we'd be today if people would just do their job.
Right.
And don't get me started on why it's a Republican and Democrat issue right now in Washington, D.C. It's a people issue, and we need to call our senators and congresspeople, and I won't get into that with you.
You want to, though.
Oh, man, I'll tell you. You know that broadcast feeling, buddy. You got the microphone, you got the camera. Let's just say it. But, I mean, my opinion on it's very simple. Do your job.
Yep.
Okay, if everybody up there, the president, the Congress, and Senate, I couldn't believe they went home. Okay, the day before all this was supposed to, or the day this was supposed to happen, we're going home. No, you're not. Okay, I'm going to send you home with my vote next time. But no, that's, and we're getting off of Florala, but you've got the mind frame that I enjoy. Okay, that you take the responsibility for the community, and the council does, and who cares what's going on next door? Okay, let's worry about what's happening here. My backyard needs to get the grass cut. I'm not going to worry about my neighbors. Okay, and that's a good my thought. Speaking of which, the city of Florala has come up several times over the past year or so about how the city has cleaned up. And that was an initiative, I believe, on you and the council to go out and not force people to literally do what they're supposed to do. But I was told by one person that it was kind of like, come on, help us out here. Let's all be a team member. And that's, I guess that's what I hear mostly is the team camaraderie that you have in that city. And that's, I hate to say, jock jive again, but, you're involved in a lot of sports. You've been involved in, things in media and stuff, but you bring things together as a team, and that's unusual.
Well, again, it's a credit to the personalities that are involved. The councils work very well together. That's not to suggest we don't have our issues. We do have differing opinions. Everybody's not on the same page. But there again, I don't really want everybody to be of a like mind. And I know that sounds strange, and people probably don't believe me, but I really don't, because I want it to be a logical argument, but I want a differing opinion, because I've got an opinion based on my life circumstances or the variables that have been tossed into my life. But there may be a totally different view, and I want to see what that view is before we come to a conclusion and a decision on what we're doing. So we don't see eye to eye on everything. There are issues that come up that we have disagreements, but we do try to overall, when we have those divisive issues, if we will, we come to a conclusion which we think is the best way to move Florala forward. And I will say that I applaud the fact that if a council member, or in some cases myself, we've been on the other end of the majority, that we just continue to go. We're not going to be divisive. We disagree. I don't agree with the opinion, but that's what the majority of the council wants. We'll move forward, and I won't try to disrupt the flow as a result of you not disagreeing with me.
And I've never heard of an outburst in your meetings that were quite commonplace back in the day before you and the new council. And I applaud you again for that. We are going to get to the future of Florala. We've talked a little bit, touched on it. Got to do that commercial break thing. And we'll come back if you don't mind. If you got the time.
Got time.
All right, man. I appreciate you coming. Want to remind everybody we did have telephone difficulties earlier this morning and still do. But Teresa called over to Vinny's number 2 in Gant and got their lunch. I'll tell you, if you've not had lunch there or breakfast, you have made a miss. Okay, they have got a great thing going on over there. Their food is second to none. I know you've got the connoisseurism down at. Oh, I got that. Yeah. Carlton's a little bit behind the times this morning.
Well, he's just efficient. He just wants to make sure everything's covered.
You were saying what was on the menu, and I was like, well, maybe she didn't get it.
Carlton, you know why we call him Carlton, don't you?
No.
His name's not really Carlton. You remember Rhoda on TV?
Television show. I don't watch much TV, but yeah, I think I recall.
You're an AM guy. You got the radio.
That's right. Got the radio.
But no, she had Carlton the doorman, and anytime she had a question or some problem in life, she'd press the button and ask Carlton.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Nobody ever saw him. Okay, he was always behind the scenes. So we pressed the button. We asked Carlton for, hey, what's that about the president? Or what's that about the Pope? And oh, you know what? I got to share this because this is something we started before you got here. Quick, I apologize for this, Carlton. Do you know who the cardinal was that was last to go to the conclave because of travel time?
Yeah, I believe you had told me earlier it was the Italian cardinal.
It was the Italian cardinal.
The guy who was right there.
He they were waiting on the cardinal from Italy, and I'm like, no, they're not. Boy, this is going to be an interesting conclave.
They had been waiting for several days for all the cardinals to get in.
And there was one that was running late.
And the last one there.
Right.
Yeah, that's how I understand it. But there is honesty that has to be reported here. He was out of country.
Oh, he was.
Right. And but he had 30 days to know that the Pope was retiring. I'm just saying. He's number 1 on the list for popeship, right? But we're going to hopefully have somebody on here talking during the conclave as well. But the biggest, what their biggest concern is now? I heard it on one of the cardinals talking this morning on the national news, is the who they're going to elect in there. What is his background? They don't do background checks on these guys.
Oh, they're cardinals.
Yeah, I know. They're right next to the popish. Popal. Papal. Whatever it's called. Yeah. The guy with that big hat.
Right.
And
Mitre.
yeah, the what?
Papal mitre.
The papal mitre. I love these words.
I'm learning. I'm sitting here. This is class for me.
Yeah. Anyway, we do have the mayor on, and we'll talk. We'll have plenty of time, I think, to talk. Well, right now it is, yeah. But, when the city of Florala goes to elect a mayor, they don't have black smoke and white smoke coming out of a chimney stack, do they?
Not that I know of.
Yeah, we're headed to commercial break. Yeah, we got to.
We didn't do the ribs and.
Boy, I'm glad. What are they having at Vinny's number 2?
You know, if you're gonna have to hold it a little further
Oh, okay.
back so I can. Ribs, butter beans, baked beans, potato salad.
That all sounds good, don't it?
Sounds great.
Hey, if you didn't have to go to that important meeting at 11 o'clock,
Yeah.
I'd invite you to lunch at Vinny's.
I can scratch it. Well, I couldn't scratch the meeting, but I can be absent.
Well, come on.
You know, there is a priority where
I'm telling you,
we're
them
all
ribs,
concerned.
them ribs melt in your mouth. Have you ever had, you know you got a good rib when you just pull the meat
Yeah.
off and it's gone.
I really don't eat ribs that often. I know that's strange, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't believe I should have to work for my food.
Well,
just
you don't
kinda-
with that.
So that sounds like it.
Yeah,
This
and
is
the
where I
butter
want
beans.
to go to eat ribs.
Yeah. And the butter beans, obviously. Baked beans, no, we won't let you have none of those. And potato salad, we won't let you have either. So we understand
So
the
it's-
age level you're at right now, and those do have certain effects on
Not me.
on the human anatomy.
Ribs and butter beans, that's good.
We'll be back with more right after these messages.
Get it real?
Keep it real.
Keep it real. All right.
Keep God in it. God bless you. We love you. We'll be right back.